Good morning, everyone, and welcome to If It's Wednesday, It Must Be Time for Wow. I am so happy to be here with you today. I am your host of this show, Nancy Matthews, and today I have the opportunity to introduce you to a longtime friend, colleague, and member of Women's Prosperity Network, Gail Dixon from the Heart's Voice Movement. And I'm so excited for our conversation today because here is where, in our very turbulent and challenging times, even though they're challenging, they can also be filled, and I'm suspecting you have this experience, they can also be filled with love and compassion and kindness and understanding. And our conversation with Gail today is about claiming your voice, your heart's voice, so that you get to be the one to bring that love, compassion, kindness, and understanding into every scenario, into your business, and into the lives of everyone that you get to touch. So I'm super excited about our conversation with Gail today. And let me tell you a little bit about Gail, and then we're going to jump right in. So, Gail Dixon is a speaker, a best-selling author, coach, and consultant who specializes in guiding people to hear and express their heart's voice, that inner whisper of truth that gives their life meaning and purpose. Her unique gift, and you're going to experience this today, I just went. Her unique gift is listening between the lines. And this positions her as an expert and a trusted authority for mission-focused messaging that serves speakers, authors, thought leaders, corporations, and nonprofits, so that they can create messaging that make an impact. She's the leader and founder of the Heart's Voice movement and also the creator of Claim Your Voice Day, which is happening on May 17th. And we'll let you know more about how you can be a part of the movement and join us to claim your voice. Welcome, Gail.
Thank you so much, Nancy. I'm so excited to be here. Can't wait to speak with you and share about what's happening in the world of Heart's Voice.
So delighted to have you with us. And let me give a little bit of background. So, Gail, you've been part of Women's Prosperity Network for 10 years?
10 or 11 years.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's we're getting up there in the number of years. And one of the things that I remember from first meeting you and you attending the events is at our events, we always have the opportunity for people to mastermind and connect and go deeper in the conversation on whatever the teaching is or the subject is. And I would notice in the rooms, everybody at your table was kind of just leaning in, kind of like, when E.F. Hutton talks. They were leaning in to hear what Gail had to say. So let's talk first about this gift that you do have of listening between the lines. How did that come about for you? And you've just, blossomed with it in so many ways.
Well, I think the gift has been with me all my life, but where I first became aware of it was when I was a student in children's theater from the time I was in kindergarten to high school. And what I realized is that I was hearing as people spoke the lines in plays or created in improv. I was hearing a distilled essential message beneath everything that was being said. I was getting a kernel of something. And that somehow I was able to reflect or speak that kernel back. So when somebody was creating a character, I would be able to say to them, well, your character is feeling this or saying this, or this is what I hear. And I believe it's a gift from Source. Mm-hmm. And it's one that then I parlayed into being a communication major and learning to do that more and to capture things. But I think we all have that spark and that possibility of listening in us. And I think that because I was gifted the opportunity to be in a place where people were encouraged to speak and express and everything else, there was room for my gift to emerge.
Beautiful, beautiful. And I know that you've gone on to, as you said, study communication in college. You worked many years with nonprofits to help them craft their message so that the essence of their mission was captured, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, speak
Exactly.
about that part a little bit.
Well, one of the things that sustains nonprofit organizations is grant money. And I became the community development director at a big nonprofit. And what I realized was the key to winning grants was to speak our mission in the funder's voice and the funder's vocabulary.
Mm-hmm.
So that I was making alignment between what we did and the impact they wanted to have. And during my career, I was successful at bringing in somewhere north of $23 million worth of grant money to nonprofit organizations. And I also represented my nonprofit in the community. And so my ability to talk about our real mission, the heart of our mission, as opposed to the things we did. We do this and we offer this service and whatever. But to talk about, for example, with the domestic violence shelter that I worked for, we're in the business of ending the generational cycle of violence. That's really different than we offer shelter and crisis intervention and making a list.
Yeah.
And I found that those things connected.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that you say you want to craft your mission in the funder's voice. And isn't this what we also want to do in our businesses? So my passion needs to be, and my mission for Women's Prosperity Network, or if you're a coach or an advisor or an author, or whatever it is that you do, you have a distinct way of languaging it for yourself, but the way you frame it will determine whether or not people are going to respond to it.
Right.
Yeah. So how do we make that transition? Well, first of all, I know you've come up with a process that you teach. And for those of you who choose to join us, I'm very excited about this, who choose to join us on May 17th for National Claim Your Voice Day. This is the third year you're
Third
doing
annual.
it. And she's doing this for free. So we're going to talk about that too. So a little bit more on that. Go to heartsvoicemovement.com and you'll get all the details, and I'll give you the link straight to the event a little bit later. But you've come up with this framework of that helps people find the essence of their message, share the essence of their message, and then expand it. So talk a little bit about this for us.
Okay, so I have dubbed that framework the Name It, Frame It, Claim It framework. And it really walks you through the journey from kind of getting the sense of that thing that's important to you that sits in your heart, the thing that you want to matter for in the world, the message, the legacy you want to leave the world, the one contribution you want to make to the well-being, and finding it and getting a sense of it, making it yours, taking ownership.
Yeah.
And
hold on one second, because in this naming it, I find a lot of people are sitting with, I know I'm meant for more.
Mm-hmm.
What's my purpose? What's the passion? I like so many things, right? You could have so many different ones. And it sounds like in this name it process, it's really unifying to find that
It
individual
is.
spark.
It's finding the common thread
Mm,
beneath all of it. That is, and I talk about it as if there's one thing that could be different in the world, one thing that isn't there now that could become, or one thing that is there now that could fade away, that would make life better for you, for all of humanity, for our world. What would that thing be? And it's amazing. It's amazing that it's not the same answer for all of us. And isn't that wonderful? Isn't that wonderful?
right.
Because that's why we're all here. That's why we all have a part and why everybody's voice matters. Because the thing that I think would make life better is not the same as what Pastor Darlene or Nellie or Peg would think makes
Mhm.
life better. So it's finding that and then saying, now that I know this is the thing that I want, that I think should change, that I want to make an impact with, how can I say it in a way that people can hear it, believe it, and join with me in making it happen?
Yeah, I love that. And that's where after you name it, and that's where
Mhm.
we move into framing it, right?
Framing it, right? It's giving it its vocabulary. And, that um, in the Hebrew Testament, when God named the creatures, that's when they got their power. So your message gets its power when you give it its name. And then you have to share the name. You have to speak the name in a way that people can hear it. And I liken that to if I had been speaking these last few minutes in Martian, none of you would understand it. It could be a great message, have a lot of meaning, but you wouldn't get it.
Hmm.
But when I talk about it in the vocabulary I'm using, it's vocabulary that WPN members and people of like mind with WPN can grasp and identify with and latch onto. And so that's what you do with your message. And we talk about that in business vocabulary. It's about
Yeah.
finding your avatar or your unique client audience, finding your niche, and then putting it in the vocabulary. And you want it when you're framing something, what you're doing is positioning people to raise their hand and say, me, I want that. Oh yeah, that's me. Whoa, there came the Zen arrow. That I believe that. So
Right.
it's about the engagement. It's creating connection with your idea. And then the last part, and why we have National Claim Your Voice Day, is claiming it. It's going out into the world and making the impact that you're meant to make. And the wonderful thing about that is that you can make that impact in varying sizes and various widening circles. Some of us make that impact in our private day-to-day conversations.
Hmm.
I have a dear friend who says, all we really have is each other. And she puts that message forth in how she lives her everyday life. And it's what she says to people when they remark on her kindness and when she's urging them to kindness with others.
And
And the circles grow until you're on the biggest platform and the biggest podium that you can imagine.
And they all matter. And they all matter. Like I'm reminded as we talk about this of how many people have said to me when I ask the question, who's somebody you admire or you look up to? Who would you love to have a conversation with that just passed on? And the number of times, I would say the percentage is better than 50 to 75%. That somebody says, my auntie, my grandmother, my uncle, my this or my that, as the top person that had influence on them in a
exactly,
positive way.
exactly, exactly. And, it isn't about the stature or status or importance of the person who conveyed the message. It's about the resonance that the message had inside you for you and your life.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And then for those of us who, we live the essence of our heart's voice
Mm-hmm.
messaging in our daily lives, in our business lives, and then through many speaking and social media, we have the opportunity to have a greater impact with it than we ever had before. Ever.
Exactly.
Like, just imagine you do that one Facebook live reel or video or podcast interview that ends up impacting this person's life. And then this one and this one. Like the power we have to create good in the world right now is immense.
Exactly. And it's why it's so important that we claim that power. Because out in the world today, there are a lot of people who are using the power of language and listening and messaging for less altruistic and less positive means. And there are messages that are coming at us that are messages of greed and fear and lack and hostility and division and separation. It's going to take all of us in every permutation of good and justice and kindness that we can come up to tip the scale, that
In favor of love, in
in
favor of
favor,
kindness, in favor
exactly.
of compassion. Wow. and
Yeah,
and this is why it's so important for us to come together in community, in the Heart's Voice movement community. May 17th. Tell everybody about the event. I'll drop the link in, and then I have some questions for you, my friend, but let's tell them
okay.
about the event first.
Okay. So the event is free on Zoom from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Friday, May the 17th. We'll spend some time just getting our feet wet, getting introduced to the concept of the Heart's Voice and why it's important, and celebrating the fact that we have people in the room who are wanting to share their heart's voices. And I have two really wonderful guests who
Mm.
are coming to share their inspirational stories of how they came to name, frame, and claim their heart's voice and have tremendous impact in the world. I'm so excited that Birch Smith Lyons from Essence of Being and Mark Porteous from Soulful Leadership, the Soul Connector, are coming to share with you and to talk about how they came to take that little kernel inside them and turn it into a worldwide movement. I mean, Birch, I think, has been on every continent in the world,
I
or
believe
almost
so.
every continent.
I think she's been on all the continent, like 67 countries or
Yeah,
something
just a
like
huge
that.
amount, and
Yeah, yeah.
built schools on the essence of being, surrounding the essence of being philosophy. And you will be surprised when you hear the origin story of when that essence of being whisper came into her heart. And Mark has created a huge impact with Soulful Leadership and his joint venture directory, where he brings people together to connect, because he recognizes that we don't do this alone. And, that our souls, not just our minds, not just our bodies, not just our work, but our souls have connection to each other. And so I'm thrilled to share their stories. It's also an interactive day, because I'm asking for 4 hours of your time and I want you to walk away with something. So we'll have some breakout sessions with some prompts to help you start exploring and navigating and doing the archaeological dig to do that name it, frame it, claim it journey. When you register a day or two before the event, you will get a packet, the worksheets, and can also download them during the event. So if you can join us last minute and didn't get registered ahead of time, that's okay. It'll be available. But to walk you through, to ask some critical questions, nothing is more empowering than a well-targeted question for helping you discover things. So we'll do that in breakouts. You'll get a chance to meet folks, to really see where they are on their journeys to naming, framing, and claiming their heart's voice, and find ways that you can be supported in sharing yours.
Right, because I think that's part of claiming it at the next level, is finding people who share a similar essence, so that you can all come together. It kind of goes back to, when we have our purpose and our mission and we begin to take action on it, we want to bring it out there. It should be something so good and so big that you couldn't do it by yourself.
Exactly.
Right? And that's what community is about. That's what this world is about. And I know the more that we can bring people together, connecting at a soul level, connecting at a heart level, that's how peace happens.
Exactly. And, I talk about it in terms of, we all came into this universe as a speck of starshine, a little piece that broke off from the one great unity. And we are all growing together back to that one great unity, which is love. And so how we grow, it's like the snowball that rolls downhill. How we grow together, how we get back closer and closer to that one great unity, is to connect with each other. And make no mistake, sometimes the messages and the missions we have are hard. Sometimes we encounter resistance. And that's when it's essential to have a community of people around us who can hold us up, speak for us when our voice falters, and magnify and multiply our voices together to reach yet another place where the message needs to be heard.
Yeah. So powerful. I want to invite everyone to join us on May 17th, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern, where you'll be guided through the name it, frame it, claim it process, so that you walk away more crystallized, more effective, and more confident and powerful in sharing your heart's voice message for that impact that you're here to make. And she's doing this for free. So let's just be clear. This woman is on a mission, and she's here to help make the world a better, brighter place. And does it everywhere she goes. She sprinkles that beautiful heart dust. Let's call it the heart dust.
Heart dust, yeah.
Everywhere that you go. So go to Hearts, that's plural, heartsvoicemovement.com, heartsvoicemovement.com. And you'll see right there on the front page, click on the banner for the event and get yourself registered. If for some reason you can't be there for the entirety of the day, or you can't be there at all and you don't want to miss it, there is an option for you to get the replays and the worksheets for $27. So if that feels right to you, go for that. I have questions, and I think our
Well,
audience might have some questions as well.
okay,
So
great.
I'm going to do my questions first because it's my show. Yeah.
Okay.
So I want to talk about some of the things that get in the way of us finding our heart's voice and listening from that space. So
Okay.
what are some of the things that do get in our way from operating in this way? And everybody wants to. It's similar to the one philosophy. I want to be this way. But what are the buts that show up for people?
Okay. So one thing that shows up is life gets busy and gets in the way. We don't even have time to look inside our hearts because we're busy doing all the things we need to do. So that's one thing. And it takes a little bit of introspection, a little bit of quietness to get there. Another thing is that we've become conditioned in this society for our identities to be defined externally, for us to get our identities by the roles and responsibilities and relationships that we engage in. And we've spent our lives hearing who and how we should be. Our parents told us, our teachers told us, our churches told us, our careers told us.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes we're waiting for somebody to tell us what that is instead of for us to recognize it in ourselves.
And or when that role changes, there's an identity crisis that can almost happen. And I remember when my children, moved out of the house and all went away to college. And I'm like, okay, who am I now?
Who
How
am
do
I
I
now?
define myself? Who am I now? Yeah.
Right. So that and another is fear and self-doubt.
Mm.
Many of us walk through life with a question that pokes its head up and then retreats and pokes its head up and then retreats, which is, am I worthy? Am I good enough?
Who am I? Yeah. Who am I to
will
do
I
this?
be loved and accepted?
Mm.
And it is a lot easier sometimes to sit quietly and let the love and acceptance come to you, if it does, than to go out and claim it, to speak up and speak out for fear that nobody will listen and nobody will come.
Yeah. Isn't that the fear that gets in the way of so many of us, me included at times? I'll do a video, but what if nobody watches it? Or what if I get on the stage and people don't applaud, or I'm on a podcast and the guest doesn't like all of that stuff that shows up. Yeah.
Absolutely. So those things get in the way. And the truth is, you were created worthy. You were created enough. Everything else that happens in life cannot take away that basic fact about you. Mm-hmm. You're enough. You may struggle to act enough. You may struggle to find the way that you present enough. But at the heart, at the essence, you are enough.
It's beautiful. All right, I got another question, and we've already got people registering for the event. So go to heartsvoicemovement.com. And in a moment, I'll love to hear questions, comments, insights, and ahas from the audience. So
Great.
if you're with us on Zoom, you can hit *6 on your phone. If you're at the computer, raise your hand. If you are with us on Facebook, just put your question in the comment thread and I'll go ahead and I'll bring it to Gail. So I want to talk about the movement. And the
Mhm.
movement, and you and I have worked together a lot around this. I know your heart and I know, more about this than our listeners at the moment. I want to touch upon not just the heart's voice, but this aspect of listening from the heart space. And that is where I see a lot of people struggle. So go ahead and speak to that, and then we'll dive a little deeper.
Okay. So, speaking and listening are part of the same coin, just like giving and receiving are part of the same energy. And when we listen, not to react or to respond, but to understand and affirm, that's when we're offering heart listening. And think about when you're listening, if all you're listening for is the thing that can prompt you to say, I hear you, I see you, I value you, and not, yes, but, and here's the counter, and here's what I think. Just listen.
That was beautiful. So listen, this takes the term active listening to a whole new level, right? So when you're listening, see if I heard you correctly, because I was listening from this space, to listen from the perspective, I hear you, I see you, what you're saying matters.
Yes.
Mm,
Yes. And
yeah.
isn't that how we all want to be listened to?
I am I'm sitting in the news around us right now, and there's political divides. There's campuses on there's protests happening on our campuses. And I invite us all to consider, like, whatever your reaction is to these things that are happening in the world around us, what if each and every one of us listened from that heart space? I hear you, I see you, your voice matters. Tell me more. Tell me why you feel this way. Like, that's how we get to resolution instead of you're wrong, blah, 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 blah. Like, this
Exactly.
movement, this movement is essential to bringing peace to our world. And I personally invite you to become part of this movement, to speak your heart's voice, to listen from this heart's space. And join us on May 17th and in every day of your life. May 17th is an amazing opportunity. We got to live this every day. And Gail, you do. You exemplify this.
Well, thank you. That's, and it's very much akin to the one philosophy. It
Mm-hmm.
is,
Yeah.
I call it a movement. You call it a movement, the one philosophy. But it's really a way of being in the world that embraces the sacredness
Mm-hmm.
of all beings and the sacredness of life and calls us to honor that in the way we respond and talk to ourselves. Ourselves, hear that, do it to yourself first. Listen to you first with compassion.
Yeah.
And about ourselves when we speak of ourselves to others, and then about others. And when we do that, we begin to develop this vibration of love and kindness and goodness. And that's the way that we will move humanity forward and move the needle more toward that sacred unity.
I love it. Beautiful. All right, everyone. I've asked my questions. Now it's your turn. What questions, comments, insights would you love to share with us today? Please hit *6 if you're on your phone. If you're on your computer on with us on Zoom, you can raise your hand, that electronic one, because I won't see it otherwise. And if you're with us on Facebook and have a question, go ahead and put it in the comments. So let's start with Debbie Unterman. Good morning,
Hello.
Debbie.
Good
Oh,
morning.
you unmuted me. Thank you. Hi,
Yeah.
Gail. Hi, Nancy. I have to say, I'm so proud of Gail for actually going to the calendar. I don't know how she did this and made a national day. She found a day and it's now on the calendar. That is so wonderful. One of the things that I was thinking of was there are a couple of women who are doing, I guess, a podcast and maybe an audio book on small talk. Um, it's Malcolm Gladwell that is sponsoring them. And I am looking at the two of you, so polished, listening to the two of you, public speakers. And I'm thinking that maybe there are some people that think it has to be something profound, to find what's in their heart and to be able to encapsulate that the way Gail has that gift to do. And I think what these women are talking about, they say just walk around with a Mona Lisa smile, be approachable, and just start
Right.
up a conversation with people. Because I think what you're saying too is we need to connect more. We need more
Absolutely.
humanity. And I love
Absolutely.
doing that. I grew up with a father that would talk in an elevator, where no one will talk. He'll start talking in elevators and he'll talk to anyone. And I guess that just showed me so that I have that gift of gab, but I'll do it in a ladies' room, online, on a line at Kroger. And I think that's important for people to just look at each other
Exactly.
and speak. And that is your heart's voice because you're
Exactly.
showing your heart from your voice. And
Oh,
people know if you're smiling.
well,
I think everyone knows I'm smiling right now while I speak.
I can hear the smile in your
Yes.
voice. Yes, yes, yes.
So yeah, Debbie, that you're absolutely right. And the heart's voice speaks, whether it's in private conversations or from the largest platform and podium you can imagine. It's not the size of the platform or the audience. It's the depth and authenticity of the message that matters.
Mm,
Yeah. So
mic
I'm
drop.
very excited about May 17th. I think it's a great opportunity and I've been seeing it grow. I'm not sure if I was in the first one, but I was in the second, if you're saying this is the third. And I'm so excited
Thank you.
to
See you then.
be there. Yes.
Awesome. See you there,
All right.
Debbie.
Mhm.
Thank you for
Bye.
being with us today and sharing your heart's voice.
Sure.
I love
You're
it. I
welcome.
love it. Yeah. And yes, this is the third National Claim Your Voice Day. And one of the things that I've admired, Gail, is over the year, these 3 years, each time you do this event, you bring it a new flavor, a new theme, and new energy to continue growing the movement. And that's why I love this year is really about a workshop type of experience so that every person there walks away with the name it, frame it, claim it framework to apply to their messaging, and they'll actually get to work on it during the event. So thank you for that. Go to, my friends, heartsvoicemovement.com, and you'll see how you can register to join in. I'll be there. Are you going to be there? Like, if I can be there, what do you got? Come on, you got to be there. Join us. Thank you, Debbie. I love that you shared it. Yes, share it with friends. Take this and share it inside of other communities that you're a part of. And people often say, "Oh, what can I do? There's so much happening. How can I, make a difference?" And much like Debbie talked about, this is what we have to do every day. So share this. Let's bring lots and lots of people to this event on May 17th so that the ripple effect from each and every one of us goes out there and creates a huge wave, huge wave. All right, let's go to our next caller, Evie's Ramirez. Good morning. Your line is live.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you so much for this wow inspiring Wednesday. So nice to wake up to these beautiful messages. And I just wanted to ask, let's say if you have so many thoughts or so many messages that you wanted to talk about, or you wanted to express, or you wanted to share, what is the best way that we can pinpoint, go deep in whatever is more important and relevant to benefit everybody, including myself?
Good question.
Great question. And we'll do some of that on the 17th. But the short answer is to see if you can find a common thread between those messages. And I would look for the common thread in either how will people feel or how will people act when they heed this message. And then see if you can distill it from there. So for example, when someone comes to me and they say, I do massage and Reiki and and healing modalities and acupressure and whatever, and I value all of those, how do I get to a message? The message or underlying all of that is the body is the gateway to the soul's peace.
See why you want to be with Gail?
And that's it. It's because what they're saying is in all the various ways I touch the body, or you can have your body be touched or do things, it does something to settle my internal peace and well-being. So you find that common thread.
Beautiful. Evie, was that helpful?
Definitely. I just writing down what you said. I definitely already registered. Is there any specific questions that I can ask to definitely get to the right one?
The question I often ask is, on your way out of this earthly plane, what's the one message that you would leave behind, that you would want people to remember and know, to hold on to as the essence of you, or to hold on to make their lives better? Is there one thing that you would want people to know?
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And Evie's, I'm guessing, I'm going out on a limb here. I'm guessing you're wondering, like, I suspect something came up when you said that, and then the next question in your mind could have been, but how does that relate to my business? How's that going to help my business?
That is right.
Okay. So my little spidey sense was picking that up correctly. What I'll say to you is, you may not be able to see the thread, the common thread throughout from that singular messaging. And I promise you it's there. So when I ask myself that question, what do I want people to know? Be the one. Get out there and be the one for others. Be the one for yourself. Be the one for what you're here to experience in life. How does that relate to marketing? How does that relate to Women's Prosperity Network? It actually relates to everything I do. Mm-hmm. And when you find that core message, as Gail will guide you, when you find that, this is going to be your USP. that unique positioning that has people want to do business with you instead of somebody else who does the same type of thing that you do. Got it?
Thank you. Yes.
Okay. It's going to be great. I'm so glad. Are you able to go on the 17th?
Yes, I already registered. Yeah.
Oh,
Great.
you're so beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Love you guys.
Love you too. All right, let's go to our next caller once again. The link is heartsvoicemovement.com. And next up is the beautiful Mary Jane Charles.
Thank you, ladies. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's sunny and warm where you are. It's really warm here. Anywho, without realizing it, I came across a quote, and we've all been in pits and caves and the things of life that we go, woe is me. But one in particular saying said, don't enable, empower. So when you are in front of whatever the monster is, whether it's a tone of voice or a behavior that you, pardon me, are really aware of, know not to succumb, but you do want to continue. It's like just send them like a bad child, disenfranchise them. Don't come back with everything you have in your head. Hold back. And they won't have anything to go up against. They burn themselves out. And when you're calmer and they come back, because they will, just say, that's what I'm talking about. You're totally detached. You're away from the moment. And nicely, if they can handle it, say, that's what I'm talking about. And just go on about your business. And so when I see it in action elsewhere, someone I don't know, because go shopping and you see all kinds of people, whether it be their teenager or their mother or their husband, God forbid, at least give them a look of recognition so they know they're not alone. The power of the look, not judgmental, just like, I got you back. And it will allow them to stand their ground. It's enormous when you see it in action.
Beautiful. Thank you, Mary Jane. That was
Thank you
good.
so much.
A little birdie tells me it's your birthday.
It is my birthday. Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Can you see me? I don't know that you can see me.
No, we can't see you.
Oh, okay.
That was great.
All right.
Thanks for
you.
spending your birthday with us and sharing your heart's voice.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I love it. I love it. All right, beautiful. Let's go. We should have time for one more caller or so. So next up is Peg Duchesne.
Thank you, Nancy. Hey, Gail. I have been to your other two events, and as Nancy said earlier, each one up levels from the previous one, and this one sounds like it's going to be, the third one's the charm, right? I just can't wait. Before I came to Wow Wednesday, two or 3 days ago, I saw on your Facebook page leading up to the big event. I love your graphics. And I'd already registered and I can't wait. And for those of you, there were a couple people put in, I have a conflict. Take advantage of her $27. Get all the replays. It's a no-brainer. Just do it. And I love what you say about listening. There's a quote from Dr. Ivan Misner, who founded BNI, and it's listen with the back of your neck. So you really lean in so that you're listening with your whole head, not just your ears and all of that. So we listen with our ears, we listen with our eyes, and listen with the back of your neck so that you're really leaning in to do that listening.
I love it. Thank you, Peg.
Absolutely. I will see you on the 17th, if not before. Yes.
All right.
Yes. Beautiful, beautiful. All right. Well, Gail, thank you for being with us. Thank you for leading this movement from your heart's space, from that spark. I know you don't have to do this, but it sounds like you have to do this.
Exactly. It is, I consider it my soul contract. So it's
What you're here to do.
Source gave me a gift, and it's my soul contract to use it as much as I can to help heal the world.
Beautiful. Well, thank you for healing my world, my part of the world, and every single person you touch. Join us at heartsvoicemovement.com. Get yourself registered. And there's also a Facebook group called The Heart's Voice Movement, I believe.
It is.
So the Facebook group is The Heart's Voice Movement. And that's about, continuing to share and live your heart's voice beyond just the one day on National Claim Your Voice Day. So thank you, everyone, for joining us and bringing your hearts to the table this morning. Gail, I love you, my friend. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much.
All right, everyone. Have an amazing day. We'll be back next week with another Wow Wednesday. Bye for now.
Bye, everybody.